Hello, this is WeHaveCookies56 and I am doing a updated version of my How I Do Modding series. I'll probably just call this Modding Tutorials for Minecraft, something like that. This is for 1.7.10 and all we're going to be doing in this video is setting up the mod workspace and making the main mod file and some other small things. But for anyone who's never done modding before, you'll need to get Eclipse, or you could get IntelliJ IDEA, or any other IDE. But it seems like the preferred one is Eclipse. I use Eclipse. I like it. I've got a very outdated version of Eclipse. I've got Juno, which is like a couple of years old now, but I just use it because I like it, and some of the new versions I don't really like too much. So let's get started. I made a folder here, tutorial. You probably don't want it on your desktop. You might, but I don't. But I do for the tutorial. So you'll need the Forge src folder, which zip file, which you can get from if you go on the internet. If that's actually, oh, there we go. And then go to files.minecraftforge.net, and you'll see you got the 1.7.10, or you can go here and look at the latest. I just look at this because I don't like reading that, because there's all the different versions there. But you'll see there's the src here, there's a bunch of other stuff. Another thing you might want to look at is the Java doc, but you don't want, you won't want any of the others, you just want the src, so make sure you get that. And then once you downloaded that, you simply extract it. I'm using B1 Free Archiver. I used to use WinRAR, but I don't really, I like this more. So I've extracted it. So what have we got here? We have a couple of things. Now you think, oh look, it's a bat file, run it. No, that is not the way you want to do it at all. So just remember that. So the first thing you want to do to set up your workspace is to go into CMD, or you can type command prompt. CMD, I believe, by default has an admin things. Yeah, the administrator. I'm an administrator anyway, because it's my computer, but whatever. So what you want to do, you want to change your directory, so CD, and then you just copy this. You want to right click and paste, because Control V does this, if you didn't know. So paste that. So now we're in the folder. Now, if you have Gradle installed on your computer, probably not many people do, because it's not a very manual installation, but I do. But I won't be using the install version. You'll see this Gradle W file and gradlew.bat. Because of this, you can type Gradle W. You don't have to put .bat. You can if you want. Either way will work. And then you want to do set up dcomp with a capital D work. That's right. I'm gonna. Okay, I can't make it. Well, I can't make it any wider. Sorry about that. I believe I can make the. I'll make the text bit bigger. There you go. Alright, so hopefully you can see that now. It's probably a bit too big, but we'll set up decomp workspace. So if you just do that, this might take a while. It'll take a couple of minutes. Depends on your computer. I have a relatively fast computer, so it shouldn't take too long. I might pause the recording. It shouldn't take too long at all. Alright, I'll pause it, and when it's done, I'll be back. Alright, so it's finished. It took 5 minutes and 16 seconds. Uh, it, another thing I forgot to mention, the time also depends on your internet speed because it does download some things, so that could affect it. But now it's done. We got one last thing to do. If you just type in Gradle W Eclipse, then it will do this. This will be a lot quicker. I probably don't need to pause the recording for this because it is quite quick. Well, usually it is. So download some stuff. Oh look, there we go. Done. So now you've got that done, you don't need... Well, in fact, I'll leave this open because before we get to developing, I would like to I'll show you how to update to the newest version of Forge once Forge updates, because it's a lot better now. So I will just leave that there. If you see this build.gradle, we'll edit it now. You probably don't want to do this now. I'm using Notepad++, by the way, so just in case you don't know what Notepad++ is. It's quite an awesome text editor, way better than Notepad. Just you probably want to use it, to be honest, or something similar. So in here we have a couple of things. Most of this you don't want to change, like all this, just leave that like that. The stuff you want to change, first of all, these things. So your mod version, your package for your mod, and then the name of your mod. I don't have to put the mod ID. You can put anything you like. It's literally just what it will name the jar file when you build it. We won't change that now. Well, we might. Here, you got the Minecraft version. Now, this is also the Forge version. So, when there's an update for Forge, we'll go back to files.minecraftforge.net. You'll see this version. Essentially, you want to go to the latest one, copy that version number, and then replace it with this. Then just save it. And then, once you've done that, you do Gradle W clean. I can do this because I know I don't have a newer version of Forge, because there isn't a newer version. I probably should have got an older version to demonstrate this, but you do Gradle clean. You don't have to do this, but it's probably a good idea just in case. Then once it cleans, shouldn't take too long. Yeah, let's see, 22 seconds. You simply just want to do the Gradle W setup decomp workspace again, and that will give you an updated Forge. Really simple. If it gives you an error, you've probably got that Minecraft version wrong. So just make sure you're aware of that. Also, let's say it updates to Minecraft 1.8. You see there's a dash between the two versions, the Forge version and the Minecraft version. Make note of that. So we'll actually change the version now. We'll leave it as 1.0, and I'm just gonna have cookies, not with a triple O, 56 dot tut, and we'll call this tutorial mod. Really creative names. You probably don't want that as your mod name unless you really want to make a weird sounding mod. So when we build it, we're not going to be building it. I might show it in this tutorial. I know you won't want to build something like this, but now we're done with that. We no longer need CMD, and now we're going to use, well, in fact, first we'll look through here. So most of these folders you don't need to really worry about. Some more will be made, like the build folder, but in the source folder we have main, and in here we have Java and resources. So in Java, this is where all the code goes. So you'll have your package in here, and if you have other mod APIs or whatever, other mods, you can put these all in the same folder. When you build, it will build with all of them inside, but you can separate them if you want. It's really aimed at just making one mod. There's probably some way of separating them easily, but I do not know of one. So as you can see, there's already a example mod, an example mod.java. This is what Forge makes by default. Every single time you set up Forge, it does this, which is kind of annoying because we don't want this. We can just delete that. Another thing it makes in the resources, it makes an mcmod.info, so it will replace your other one, which is really irritating sometimes. But in here, we will change this now, so you don't even have to make one. You'll have an mcmod.info made already. Now, MC version and version, do not change these. These will actually change when you build to whatever your version is in your mod, which is really, really handy. Of course, when you're in the development environment, it will just say that and that instead of the actual version, but that doesn't matter because no one's going to be playing that version. So the mod ID, I'm going to decide it now. It's just going to be tut. Probably don't want it to be that. And tutorial mod. And then, you know what, we'll just... Description, change it to whatever you want. Whatever the mod does. I'll just leave it like that. I'll change the author list. So it's we... Oh, I turned on caps lock. We have Cookie City 6. And for making FML. There we go. So that's the mcmod.info. You can see there's some other stuff you can add if you want. I don't know if all of this works, but some of it does. Like the logo file, you can add your own image if you want, which is kind of cool. And I'm not sure if screenshots work. I think the dependencies work, but I'm not sure about those. You can try it out. Considering it has square brackets, you probably have to do it like this, and then you separate them with commas. Relatively simple. So that's all the mcmod.info. Now we'll go on to Eclipse. I've got a shortcut here on my start menu, and we want to browse. Now I don't want to go in my development environment for kingdom keys. Where are we? Don't want to be in my documents. Desktop. Here's desktop. Here it is. Also, you might want to name that a bit better than just Forge, whatever. It's probably a good idea. So we just want to set this to not that folder. We want to set it to Eclipse. And yeah, just make sure you use the Eclipse folder. Run that. If you're not using Eclipse, you probably have to do something else, which is kind of why you should probably use Eclipse, because Forge is already like kind of designed for it. This probably won't show up for you, it's because I have the Android SDK plugin thingy for Eclipse, and it moans because the Forge environment doesn't have the Android SDK, which is funny that. Now I also have the Java EE version of Eclipse. You do not need this at all. And I will open the right thing. Just Java. There we go. So we don't need half this stuff like that and that. I like to minimize that and make this a bit smaller. Of course, it's all preference. When the game runs, the console will actually appear in the corner, which is why I like having it minimized. For some reason, this bar has gone really weird for me. Normally, this is all over there. For some reason, it's moved. I know you can move it, but it's really awkward because of this bar here. Anyway, so we have nothing in here right now, but this is where the code will go in the Java, and then all the textures and stuff. So we'll make some folders just for the next tutorial where we'll actually make some things. So we want to make a new package, and I'm going to make it, we have cookies 56 dot like I did in the build.gradle, whatever it was. Wait, is it? I always get mixed up. Is it gradle.build or I don't know. Doesn't matter. So we got this empty package. Normally you'd probably do your website name. If you don't have a website, I just thought, well, I'll just use my name then, or my username, and then the name of the thing I'm using. So I'm gonna make a new class, not a package again. Make a new class, and you probably want to call this the name of your mod. So I'm going to call it tutorial mod. This is going to be your main mod file. You can call it like main mod file, but I like to just call it the name of my mod. So this is your mod file. This is like where all the stuff is registered. It's pretty important. So the first thing we're going to do here is do @mod and then in brackets name equals, and then you want to put the name of your mod. So tutorial mod. That's simple. Then you want to do mod ID. Make sure these are all lowercase, because that's what it takes as parameters. So what are we going to put the mod ID as? Tut, of course, because that is the package name. You don't have to put it the same, but you probably want to do that because then it won't be confusing. Now we've got the version, and of course you can use any versioning thing. You can call it like something stupid like first version, you know, something stupid like that. But we're going to call it 1.0 because that's what it said in the build file. You probably want to keep those two the same. Now, actually, that's all you need. So you'll see there's some errors here, and it's really easy to fix. Just either hover over here and it will say import. But if you want to do it the quick way, you press Control Shift O and it imports. If there's like multiple things with the same name, it will ask you to choose one, but it didn't with that, so it's fine. So next thing we want to do is we want to make a pre-init, a init, and a post-init. So we're going to make the pre-init first because it's in the order that it loads. So the pre-init is right, everything inside the pre-init will load while Minecraft is loading. So we'll make a public void pre-init, and it'll be an FML. Now, if you press Control Space, this thing will come up. Right now, it won't show up anything, but it should. No, okay. Initialize. Okay, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Event. Oh, does it? Well, it doesn't matter. So that's what you want to put. Event. You can literally call that anything, I believe. So I probably typed it wrong, didn't I? Oh, it's that. And it's imported it now because of that. And you want to put at mod.event handler. So this is the pre-init. This will launch while Minecraft is loading. So things like packets, items, blocks, all those sort of things you'll probably want to register while the game is loading. So right now we won't have anything in there for now. So now I want to do, I'll actually put this first just because. we want to do the init now, so this is just init. And it's just the same FML initialization. Oh look, if I press Control Space, I guess because I didn't have mod.event handler. See how it auto-filled? That's a lot quicker. And the last one, that is not the right symbol. Oh, my typing is really bad today. Public void post init. So the post init is, well, I didn't even explain the init. The init is like just after the game's loaded. And the post in it is while like the game's running. So like when you're in a world, that's when stuff will happen. So a lot of things you probably won't be using in the post init. It's mainly stuff in the init and the pre-init, but you might use it. So post, there we go, event. So now we've got those three. That is the basics of our mod class. Now, there are some other things you can do, like mod construct. There's a couple other things, like if you can look. That's not what I want to do. If you, well, just look in the fml.common.event, and there's pretty much all the stuff you can put in here. Also, I guess if you do this public, like you could probably, no, you can't. Void something, I'll just call it I, why not? You can see some things here that you can do. I don't think all this you can do. Well, this is basically what you're going to have in your main mod file. So just to test this is working, we will put a, well, in fact, I think it might be a good idea. I know this isn't really something you'd normally do at the beginning, but I'm gonna make a, well, I'll make something print out in the as like in the log instead of it just being in the console. So we just want, it's relatively simple to do. You do public static logger, and we'll just call it logger or log for short. FML log dot get logger. So now you can print stuff. Well, you can't yet because you haven't imported this. Now there's quite a lot of things to do. So if you press Control Shift O, unless you do it that way, it comes up with all these things, and it's kind of like, well, which one do I choose? Well, now a lot of these, well, the old way used to be using, what am I on about? It's just, you want to remember, there's two here. It's the one without core, so just make sure it's that one and not that one. It's a very similar package, but you can see one is an interface and that one is a class. So now we've got that, we can do log dot, and there's all these different things we can do. So we got log dot debug dot catching dot error dot info. Now info is probably one you'll use quite a lot if you want to. If the users are looking at the console, you can tell them what things are loading, and you can tell yourself to see that things are loading. So info, we'll say mod pre init. So now that will print in the log mod pre init. If you just use system.out.println or just print, it will print into the console, but not in like the log files. So that's something you might want to consider. So we will put the same thing in here. Mod init. I put a capital L there. You don't have to call it log, because you can call it whatever you want. So mod post init. So now we've got that. We can, well, I'll do something before we launch the game. Disorientating me when it's over here. Run configurations. So in here we have 2 clients and 2 servers. I have no idea why there's 2, to be honest, but you can see they're pretty similar. So we'll just use this one. Now in here you can put username, and I'll put my username, which is, we have, oh, space, I don't want to put that, we have cookies56, and that should, assuming I actually typed that right. Oh look, see, do you see that? What have I done? I don't think this is probably something to do with, oh god damn. What's wrong with this now? Why didn't that launch? Oh dear. I found quite a lot of issues with, yeah, that's not gonna work. I found quite a lot of issues with the Forge, I must say. When I figure out what on earth is wrong, I will be back. Okay, so I found out what the issue is. It's because basically while I was setting up the workspace, like the setup decomp workspace, it said skipping the Minecraft jars, and the reason for this is because the cache was kind of, I don't know, screwed up by something. So if you have this issue, just run gradle clean cache with a capital C on clean and cache. Cache is in CH instead of SH. And it will do that. I'm currently running the setup decomp workspace again, because you have to do that so it downloads the client. You can see it's actually downloading it now. So if you do have this problem, just do this and it should fix it up. There should also be a build folder. That was actually one of the problems, and the reason there needs to be a build folder is because the natives are in here, which is like where LWJGL is, and all the different API or libraries, whatever you want to call them, are used by Minecraft and Forge, so just make sure that's there. This is also where your mod will be inside, so it's kind of important. So when this is finished, I'll be back. You can see it's not too far off. Okay, so it's done now, so this should be fixed now. So if I run it, hopefully, oh look, this wasn't right at the top that time, and the game is actually opened. Well, yep, it seems like it's actually gonna work. So that's good. Now, I think, oh yeah, this is actually working. We should see, oh look, there it is, mod pre init, and then mod init and post init. So you can see it's working. There's 4 mods active. So if we go on mods, you can see tutorial mod, and there's this and this. Obviously, this will be different once you build it. You can see URL and the child mods, aka the dependencies, the credits, you know, all that stuff. And there's a config button here. Now, I might do a, well, I think I will do a tutorial on how to actually make use of this. It's actually very cool, but sometimes editing the files probably a better idea. So I have nothing to show in the game, so I will close that. So this is almost everything in this tutorial I'm doing today, other than, well, first of all, we're going to make some folders, because we're going to need them for the next tutorial. So if we go in here and go in resources, we want to make an assets folder, and then the mod ID, which is tut, and then in here we're gonna have things like textures, and we might have lang, and another thing we might have is sounds. So we'll have all those, and then textures, you'll probably have blocks and items. But other than that, I am not going to do anything else. You might put some other folders. It depends on what you have in your mod. You might not even have sounds. You might not have language files. That's probably a good idea to make some, because I will be showing you how to use language files so you can have multi-language support. That is all for this tutorial. Next tutorial, I'll try and show proxies and blocks and items, simple blocks and items, and then after that, I'll probably do the 3D models, like the model I did before. The video I did before. So it will be similar to what I've done already, but I'll do some other tutorials as well. And this will all be for 1.7.10, so happy days. So I'll see you in the next tutorial. Wait, I've forgotten something. I want to show you one last thing. So we don't need this anymore. If we go back in here, if you want to build your mod, let's say you've finished it. Obviously, this isn't a finished mod, but it doesn't matter. We want to go back in CMD. Probably didn't need to close this, but it only takes a second. Well, that wasn't a second, but it doesn't matter. Just do Gradle W build, and it shouldn't take very long at all. So you can see it's doing it very, very quickly. And look, 11 seconds. That was super fast, but then obviously there's not really anything in here. So if you want to find it, you go and build, and then libs, and you see tutorial mod -1.0. And if we open this view, alright, so in here we have the mcmod.info. I think I can just, yeah, should be able to. So you can see in here, this has changed now. Look, we got the version 1.0 and 1.7.10 for MC version. So when you actually run it in the game, it will look like that, which is very useful. And then we have this. We don't have the assets folder because they are all empty, and it would be kind of pointless to put it in there, so it doesn't. So that is everything for this tutorial. It is actually everything for this tutorial. So I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.